and I wanted to touch on a subject that is quite divisive, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Moving to another country, integrating. Hola amigos, and welcome back to Mexico. Today I am in San Miguel de Allende in Guanajuato state, which is about an hour away from Guanajuato, where I was in the last video. And oh my god, look behind me, we have a spectacular church. This is the parish of San Miguel Archangel. Lovely name. And we're going to start off this video by just taking a look inside, because you know I absolutely love churches, cathedrals. The history and the architecture in Mexico with churches and religious buildings is absolutely spellbinding, spectacular, magnificent, out of this world. How many more synonyms can I use? Wonderful. And then we're going to have a bit of a chat about San Miguel itself and my impressions of this place. But let's go inside and have a look. Okay, it's quite quiet in here at the moment, so I'm going to talk while I'm in here for once. This church is absolutely spectacular. Look at that massive organ up there. Chandeliers are beautiful. The colours, you've got the red around the top. Murals up the top as well. Brickwork as well up there, which I don't normally see in a church, brickwork like that. And look, gold around there, absolutely spectacular, beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful churches I've seen, absolutely. Wowzers, stunning. And I must admit, when I first got here in the last video, where I said a bit, you know, my first impressions were like, it's a bit meh, you know, that has changed my opinion completely. And actually from outside it kind of looks like Barcelona. You know, one thing about Mexico is that this country knows how to do churches. I've never seen places like that are so spectacular in my life. Wonderful. So of course San Miguel has this central area with lots of benches you can sit down on, people selling things, the bandstand, gazebo. Okay, Erin said the word gazebo to me the other day, but to me that is not a gazebo. A gazebo is like a patio table, but you know what I mean, whatever it's called. But you know, we've spent a lot of time in central areas recently, so we're going to have a bit of a walk around San Miguel to see what else it has to offer. So I'm sure you've noticed that I have named this video San Miguel de Anticlimax, but don't worry, I don't mean this in a negative way, alright? I'm going to explain this throughout the video. So if you don't know anything about San Miguel and you're a complete virgin, novice, sorry, I don't mean virgin, to San Miguel, let's give you a bit of information. So predominantly it's a town that is very popular with expats, so US citizens, Canadian citizens that may have come here to retire essentially. And actually my Airbnb host is from Ottawa, and he's moved to San Miguel 15 years ago with his cats, with his two cats. So basically that's my future life mapped out, at least I hope it is. It's fantastic. And those people, obviously because they're retired, the population here of expats is significantly older than you would see elsewhere in Mexico. You know, someone like Vallarta, I think that's more popular with younger expats, you know. And is that a negative thing? I don't think it is, because it feels like Mexico still, but with a bit of a different taste in terms of it's easier. So as I said previously in other videos about not discounting places like this, you know, especially if you are older, and especially if you are from the States or Canada and you're looking for something different for your retirement, then absolutely this is the perfect place to come. I would move here, I think, if that was the case. I need to age a little bit first. It's very much like, you know, how I think of Spain when, you know, UK citizens get old and they move to Spain. It's the kind of same thing. So yeah, that's my first thoughts. Okay, a typical street in San Miguel de Allende. As always, these wonderfully colourful buildings, yellows, beiges, oranges, reds, browns, burgundies, all those sorts of colours, which is just the epitome of this type of town in Mexico. Now, in terms of expats, I've got to say that I've been really pleased, pleasantly surprised in a way, by just how polite and welcoming and chatty American expats are. Nothing against Americans, but you know, I think that comes with older people, elderly. I'm trying to be respectful in terms of age. But yeah, they've been wonderful, very welcoming. And I think when it comes to being an expat, having those other people there of the same nationality that speak the same language makes all the difference if you're trying to settle in another country. And that's definitely one thing that I've experienced over the last 3 years, you know, massive thing. So I can totally understand. I think I've finally grasped it in my head that actually it's not so bad to be surrounded by people that you're familiar with, people that can speak the same language, people that you're comfortable with, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Moving to another country, integrating. Now, as you probably noticed, this video is turning into a bit of a talking video, but actually today I've got a lot to talk about, especially when it comes to the subject of being an expat or a potential expat. And I wanted to touch on a subject that is quite divisive and contentious, and that is the whole point of, is Mexico safe? You know, if you are an American, for example, obviously I'm from the UK, so I would have a different view. You may think that Mexico is unsafe, and you might believe these stories that have apparently been talked about in US media. Honestly, I don't see it. You know, this subject in terms of is Mexico safe and Mexico shocked us and that sort of thing, it's old. Come on, it's tired. We all know that Mexico is safe. It's a brilliant country. You know, I honestly cannot understand how people would have this view that Mexico isn't safe. And do you honestly believe this garbage that is apparently talked about in US media? Because I don't see it, and I think it's time we stop talking about it and just established that Mexico is perfectly fine. It's a brilliant location to come to, particularly if you're an expat. So get that out of your head straight away if you are thinking of coming here. That's my biggest advice about Mexico I could ever give. Right, okay, I've come to a park, Parque Benito Juarez, which I believe was recommended by Dan, one of my patrons. Thank you, Dan. And I just realised that earlier in this video I pronounced Ark and Hell as Archangel, the English pronunciation, so apologies for that. If I'm completely wrong, correct me down in the comments, I'm sure you will. Now, I wanted to end this video to talk about the Anticlimax Point. Okay, so it's become increasingly apparent to me over the last 3 years of travelling full time that when you come to a place, you can't judge it purely based on one point of view. You can't limit yourself to one mindset, which I've been guilty of in the past. So I want to describe San Miguel in 3 ways. Firstly, as a tourist, secondly, as an expat or a potential expat, and thirdly, from my point of view, which, as always, is quite honest and direct and frank. Okay, and additionally, I want to describe San Miguel in the same way that I described Kyoto in Japan. So firstly, as a tourist, you know, when you go on vacation or holiday, whatever, and you come to a country, you have limited time. You might have a week, you might have 2 weeks. So it's impossible for you to be able to visit magic towns, beaches, cities, ruins, everything that Mexico has to offer in that short time. So you will want to come to a place that kind of epitomizes Mexico, and San Miguel does that. So it's beautiful, it's colourful, there's amazing food, there's history, there's colonial architecture, and when you go back home to whatever country you're from, you will go back with this amazing view and opinion of the country you went to. So absolutely, for a tourist, somewhere like San Miguel and Guanajuato, for example, are perfect places to come. Secondly, as I've said, in terms of an expat, this is the perfect place to come. for an expat. As I said, I would come here in maybe 30 years time. I'm getting old, I'm almost 40 now, you know, so I want to clarify that, you know, if you are one of those people that you're maybe a bit older, you're watching this because you're thinking of moving to Mexico, consider San Miguel, absolutely. And thirdly, my opinion. Now, I've been travelling for 3 years now. I've been in Mexico for 14 months. And to be honest with you, San Miguel has been a bit of an anticlimax, despite only being here for a few days. Obviously, if I was here for longer, I might have a different opinion. And when you read about San Miguel and watch videos about San Miguel, it's often, you know, the most beautiful place in Mexico. Yes, it's beautiful. But you've got to remember that I've been to so many places already in Mexico. I sound so entitled and millennial by saying that, but it's the truth. You know, I've been to places like Taxco, I've been to places like Atlixco, Puebla, Tlaquepaque, Tequisquiapan, an endless list of places that honestly offer exactly the same as San Miguel. However, they also offer that authentic feel of Mexico, you know, where people don't automatically speak English, where it is populated by locals, which for me as a long-term traveller is what I prefer. So I want to just clarify that, you know, my opinion will be different from yours depending on the sort of person you are and the sort of trip you're doing. So yeah, that's why San Miguel has been a bit of an anticlimax, because I was expecting this amazing place that everyone tells me about. But actually, if I think of San Miguel versus Guanajuato, I prefer Guanajuato purely because it's got that feel of authentic Mexico and it is less populated by foreigners. Not that that's a bad thing. So that's this video done. Next up, I will be discussing in more detail about what I talked about earlier, about this whole view of Mexico is unsafe and the media that has been talked about to death by YouTubers, bloggers, Instagrammers, content creators, etc. And it's going to be really honest and frank and direct, as I said before. And also, shocker, there's a big news, well, you know this already, I'm going back to San Luis Potosí in about 3 hours. So I'm going home. One of my favourite places in Mexico. I'll be back there for either a week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed having a look around San Miguel. Don't forget to check out my Mexico playlist. If you are moving to Mexico or thinking about it, I've got about 90 videos from all over Mexico for your perusal. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Tell me what you think of San Miguel as well, and I'll catch you later. Yes, I'm back in San Luis Potosí, my favourite place in this country. I'm so happy. I'm in a market in San Luis eating enchiladas potosinas. Princesses for life. This is the most beautiful city in Mexico.